Welcome to the Relevant Roundtable, where we meet every first and third Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We thank you so much for tuning in with us at the table. And tonight we have with us again, this is our third round with Leon Walker. And so, as many of you know, Leon Walker is a diagnosed narcissist, so that is NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. And so tonight we're just going to take a ride down the road about some characteristics of NPD and our DNA. So Leon, if you could just tell our audience, some of those that may be new to the table and to who you are, and a little bit about your diagnosis.
Leon Walker. I'm all over social media as Leon Robert Walker Jr. Diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, mood disorder, depression, anxiety, and severe PTSD, and have been for many years. Served 32 years in the Navy. I was married for 12 years. I'm divorced now. Have three adult children, 26, 29, and 30, and a 3-year-old granddaughter. Love animals. I enjoy animals. I enjoy helping people. Been around the world, retired 2015, been retired for 11 years now. I'm an author of 3 books and co-authored 2 other books, and I'm working on my 4th book now. So I'm on social media to help people out to understand personality disorders, mood disorders, and people that they may be dealing with, working for, married to, or getting married to. So that's what I do now. I've been doing that since 2021.
So, Leon, let's just jump right on the road.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us about some of the characteristics that you have from your mother and your father that you believe attribute to some of your narcissistic behaviors?
So I know that I have a very addictive personality, and I knew that as a kid. After age 13, actually, I'm sorry, after age 18, when I joined the Navy, 2 years later, the crack epidemic hit, and my mother started smoking crack. Before that, she maybe smoked a little weed. She smoked cigarettes. My dad drank alcohol and smoked cigarettes. But once my mother got addicted to crack, I started kind of like focusing on why and studying my mom. And come to find out, she too had a very addictive personality. So she smoked crack from 1985 to 2011. And the only reason why she stopped smoking is because she went to hospice. The drug dealer dropped her off at the hospital, and they went from the hospital to the nursing home to hospice, and she died. So I was struggling with why I'm so addicted to porn, was addicted to porn, smoking cigarettes, smoking black and milds, drinking. Um, I was addicted to being verbally abusive to women. It was never men. Like my boys, we would talk, what up, But when I was verbally abusive, it was always directed towards women because I had a lot of anger towards my mother. So my dad's, I know my dad's traits that I have my father could be very, very overbearing. And for my grandiosity, my diagnosis, one of my traits is being very overbearing. And they say narcissism starts with the mother. I can't prove that. I don't know, but I know I have a lot of my mother's traits. I knew how to suppress my emotions and feelings. I never saw my mother cry, but I did see my father cry. And I knew that I could not cry and not care about not crying. And that was at a funeral, somebody getting sick, my girlfriend breaking my girlfriend's heart. I never cried about stuff like that. So I know I get that from my mother too. Overbearing from my dad, addictive personality from my mother. I think not wanting to get close to people and love from my mother. Being a jokester and wanting to be outwardly. I get that from both of my parents because my dad worked for 34 years at Ford and retired, but he was always with people, around people. My mother was a bartender for a long time, so she was always around and serving people. She was always a visionary. She always thought different. She's forward thinking. My dad was forward thinking. So a lot of my traits come from, of course, both of my parents, but some of them overlap. And in narcissism, some of the traits overlap with vulnerable narcissists, grandiose, covert, malignant, and so forth. And so with my mom as well, I knew that I could shut down on people like hardcore, right? From the simplest thing that made me mad, not even hurt my feelings, but made me angry. I knew I could shut down, and I knew that I could be very vindictive. And I get that from my mother too. I've seen these things as I grew up, and then I didn't think about them until I got upset with my mother for divorcing my father and us losing the house. So when I went to stay with my dad, I started favoring my dad over my father, over my mother. So I would favor my male friends over my female friends. So it was something that I was kind of aware of, and I wasn't aware of, but I knew where it come from because I saw it early in my childhood.
With your mother,
Hmm.
do you believe that you felt a sense of abandonment?
Yeah. And from that point forward, I was actually 12 and a half, 13 years old when I came home from my sixth grade graduation. Actually, I was 11. Um, and she said, "Don't go in the house. You can't go in there anymore." And I'm like, and I looked at the door. It was a big red sign, eviction notice. Back then, they put them signs on the door. And from that point on, I was extremely upset with my mother. Um, didn't want to blame my dad. He was already gone. We didn't have money in the house. We didn't have water. We didn't have lights. We didn't have a phone. And I can't remember how long that went on for, but I learned how to survive through that. Um, and so I held a grudge towards my mother for a very long time. And in therapy, I learned that I was holding a grudge towards my mother for 29 years. I knew that I would antagonize my mother after I joined the Navy, and then I would be gone for a little while and come home for 2 weeks and not see her on purpose. But I would see the people that she knew, and they would tell her, "Hey, girl," Sylvia was my mother's name. "I saw your son. Yeah, he came over and spent the night with us. We ate, had a good time." And I didn't see my mother. So I was vindictive towards my mother for 29 years, and I held grudges. So I learned how to hold grudges against the women I was dating and married to, only one. I could hold a grudge for a very long time, but I think I don't want to say, I was conditioned to do that, um, by coming from a divorced family, a dysfunctional family, and not being able to process why my parents got divorced. But I knew that my father used to beat on my mother. I knew that my father was drinking a lot. So me not understanding that at the time, I saw my mother as just giving up on me. So she abandoned me from what I thought. But in therapy helped me process that. No, it wasn't just that your mother abandoned you. She had to take care of three kids. Your dad was gone. So I didn't see that. I just knew anger, vindictive, revenge, grudges. That's all I saw. And that was what felt good to me, to hurt my mother. So that also would transition into my relationships. If one of my exes would hurt my feelings, or I felt like they were going to abandon me, I would abandon them first. Or I would hurt them so much to where they would latch on to me, then I can abandon them. They would beg for me to come back. So it was a lot just based on my mother and my father getting divorced.
So tell us, I heard you say anger, right?
Hmm.
Um, but tell us the depth of what it felt like to have a mother present but not present.
Okay, so oh, that hurt bad because when I was sent to live with Miss Irene when I was 11, um, mother was present but not. So I was present in another woman's house, but my mother wasn't. But maybe she's probably a half a mile down the street from me. And Tony, it hurt me. It destroyed me because I would come home from school, go to Miss Irene's house, and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see my mother." I would jog down the street. My mother lived in a hotel with my brother, and the hotel clerk said, "You can't come here. You can't live here. This hotel is not for kids." And I was like, "I just want to see my mother." And that lady gave me a hard time, so I started breaking into their little candy machines and stealing. Vindictive, angry, outbursts. And so then I started sneaking in the hotel to see my mother. And then I started going around the building instead of going through the lobby of the hotel and knocking my mother's window, and she would let me come in through the window. And I would go over there just to have my mother cook me some lunch. And then sometimes she would didn't have food, and she would ask me for money, and I was like, man, I was destroyed, Tony, as a little boy. I was gone. I didn't want a girlfriend. I wanted to have sex. I don't want to hold hands. I want to have sex. I don't want to cuddle. I want to have sex. And that followed me my entire life. That's because I yearn for my mother. So I tell women, look, if you got a man and he's yearning for his mother, or he don't tell you, he's gonna show you directly and indirectly that he's missing his mother's nurturing and guidance. A lot of the men that don't know how to treat women lost their mother at an early age, or their mother sent them away, or they were in foster care or orphanages. So that mother wound runs deep. So I my mother was around, but she wasn't. And so the last time she really cooked for me, I think I was probably 15. She got me this job at Angela Mia Pizza place in East Cleveland, and I liked the job. I loved the job. She looked out for me. She got me the job, and I forgot that she got me the job. I worked and I started making money. That my father had me paying bills at 16, and I didn't give my mother credit for that until I went into therapy, thinking about the things she did for me. The reason I could swim is because of my mother. The reason I played baseball, basketball, football because of my mother. My mother got a basketball court built in our backyard when I was a kid. So I didn't give my mother credit until I was 47. But from age 13 to 47, I was mad at my mother. So anybody that I dealt with between the age of 13 and 47 caught hell from me because of my mother.
So, in essence, you blocked out the good things.
Oh, yeah. And so, in essence, blocking out the good things, I also blocked out the good things that my exes were doing for me, too. So I knew how to block stuff out and pay attention to the negativity, which even today, I can still do that, but I have to remind myself that's not cool, it's not nice, it's not right. Don't treat them like your mother, like you treated your mother. And my mother has been deceased since 2012. Um, so 14 years. And I still have to remind myself when I feel like I'm getting angry with the woman, look at the positives. And that sounds cliche, but look at the Leon, you gotta look at the positive things, not just the negative things, because I was conditioned and I was always used to looking at the negative things my mother did not do. But she actually did it. But when the divorce came and she lost her father and she lost her brother, divorce came, she lost her husband and she lost her kids too. It was an overload for my mother. So she started smoking crack.
Talk to us a little bit about your father's side.
So my father's side, great segue. They are known to hold grudges. I study my father's side, the people in my family on my father's side, people I hang out with. They are known. May be known to other people, but I know that they hold grudges. I've seen it. They're the bigger side of my family. Most of them are 6 feet, 5'11", 6 feet. My mother's side was short. My grandmother was like 4'11", and my grandfather, my mother's father was like 5'2". But my mother's side, they were honorary. They were stubborn, very stubborn. And I have a lot of stubbornness about myself too. I can be very honoring. My dad's side they hold grudges. They're very athletic but overly aggressive. They could be mean. They could shut down. They can not have empathy. So I know all of the traits on both sides, and I'm filled with them. But as far as I know, I'm the only person that went through therapy in my family. I don't know for sure, but the way they act, nobody's working on themselves, even if they've gone through therapy. And I can say that I didn't work on myself after 2015 for like 6 years until 2021 when I started doing these videos. But my father's side, a lot of them migrated from the South, hard workers. They do have work ethic. They're talented, artistically inclined, and they too have addictive personalities. So I get that from both sides. Yeah.
So I hear you. And there's a two questions that I have, but the first one I'm going to ask this one is from that irony and that stubbornness, do you believe that those things may be a contributing factor to the mental part, right? So MPD also is it deals with the cognitive portion or the psychological portion, right? So
Mhm.
do you believe that that irony, that stubbornness, um, has the ability to affect you
Yeah,
psychologically?
yeah. First of all, because you won't go get help, so you won't be able to figure out psychologically what's wrong because you're too stubborn to go get help. Um, Too stubborn to communicate, too stubborn to apologize, too stubborn to get past conflict, too stubborn to resolve conflict. Oh yeah, for sure. And then what happens then? Too stubborn to say there's something wrong with me, right? Most narcissist people, ain't nothing wrong with me. And when they say that, then when they say that, guess what? I don't need to go to therapy. So that stubbornness has plays a key role in all of those aspects of psychological warfare, psychological codependency, psychological personality disorders. Either way. So yeah, the stubbornness, hmm refusing to be responsible, for refusing to take accountability. Yes, stubbornness has covers it's a wide range of narcissistic personality disorder traits, I guess you could call them. I was never told that being stubborn is a trait, but it has to be. It maybe it comes up under uh, lacking accountability or responsibility. Telling the truth, lying, avoidance, right? Fight or flight. I was always in flight mode. Avoidance, like I said, yeah. So stubbornness. That's a great point. It covers a lot. Yes, it's like an stubborn is the tip of the top of the umbrella, and everything else comes up under that. So yeah, for sure. My mother was very stubborn. Yes. Very yeah, very, very stubborn. Very stubborn. Yes. All the way up to I'm not gonna say up till she died, but she's very in her 60s, she was very stubborn. Yes. While she was getting high. My mother wanted what she wanted. I too want what I want. And now I still want what I want, but I go about it a different way instead of being overly aggressive and angry and mean. And if I can't get it, I'll try another way, not to hurt anyone to get what I want though. No. And before I couldn't care less about getting what I wanted, regardless of how bad I'm going to hurt your feelings by saying something. But now, no, I don't want that lifestyle, that mindset anymore. No, but that was a great point.
So let's talk about that, wanting what we want, right?
Hmm.
So what did that for you look like?
Um, Overly aggressive, overbearing. Um, if I had an urge to go smoke, I would be, become easily irritated. If I had the urge to go watch porn and couldn't, it was almost like a drug, heroin or whatever. If I wanted it, if my body needed it, if I desired it, if I was thinking about it and I got a reaction, I wanted to go do something. Even if I just wanted to go out and flirt, even if I just want to go out and cruise and look at prostitutes, not buying one. It was like I had to go do this, go go chase this thrill. I was a thrill seeker all the time. I wasn't scared of danger or dangerous things or dangerous people. That suited me. People that went to church, people that were calm, people that were collective, people that were serene were very boring to me. We had to be drinking, smoking, fighting, or sexing for me to feel successful outside of work.
Were you impulsive?
I could be very impulsive. Yes. Yes. Extremely, extreme. I hardly ever said no to anything, really. I was never reserved as far as somebody asked to do something, we planned something, doing something. If I felt the energy start to move in my body, we going. Whatever it is, it's on. Because that's what made me happy. Not sitting at home our legs crossed with each other's, watching Netflix and eating popcorn and drinking juice. I just couldn't sit still, and so a lot of my traits, a lot of my anguish, a lot of my fears too started as a child. And so instead of, like I told you before, I think I told you, but my therapist said I should have been in therapy at 6 years old, 6 years old. So I didn't get it. So I didn't know how to process things. Instead, I would let them consume me until I enjoyed it. And then when I enjoyed it, I got used to it. I got used to it, I could manage it. And I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't manage it. When I felt the urge to do something, whether it was drink, smoke, watch porn, yell, scream, hurt somebody's feelings, or make somebody cry, when I got the urge to do that, it was almost like going out the front door and seeking that type of thrill, So I didn't know how to work on it until I was 47 years old. And at that time, I had been in the Navy like 31 years. I was beyond damaged.
So we're going to circle back here, but I want to take a left real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Back to that DNA portion and your mother and your father, because DNA is extremely important when we look at our character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some
Right.
of the attributes that we have. So,
Right.
what does your family dynamics look like?
You
And
mean as far as siblings and stuff like that?
yes, from a narcissistic perspective.
Two of my siblings have the disorder, undiagnosed. I'm not going to say which ones, but I feel that. Um, because I look back on what they used to do and how they used to act, how they used to react, how they treated women, how they treated each other. The moments of times that they can go long periods of time without speaking, right? Avoidance, um, lacking empathy, no emotional connection amongst siblings. I've seen it. Let's think back when I was sent to live with Miss Irene and my sister was sent to live with another lady. And my brother was sent to live with my mother. I felt like my other brother was chosen over me. He had the hotel. He was with the mother. I was sent like gone. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. But and I know for a fact I used to beat up my sister a lot. Not punch in the face, but punch in the back of the head and the body and the chest, shoulder, stomach, kicker. And she wound up fighting boys a lot. And girls, she would beat the heck out of girls. So and my sister's never been married and she never had any kids. So I take responsibility for probably, the trajectory that she went on as far as relationships and lacking emotions or fearful of connecting with people. Although my sister loved men, she just never got married, never got had any kids. So she made her mind up as a young lady not to have kids. So that she was damaged too. But I think she chose. Well, we chose a path when we moved. My dad, we went to the ghettos of Cleveland, and that was prostitution, that was drugs, that was smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, gambling. For me, snatching purses, wanting to steal cars. Going to people's house, womanizing. All of that started at a young age for me. So my siblings we were in going in different directions, but I think the males we all went in the same direction as far as narcissistic personality disorder is concerned. Yes.
And so you have children. So how do you either safeguard them or um, educate them on how to navigate, right? So that they don't find themselves in a place that you had found yourself in prior to therapy.
Well, I think my kids see my videos. I think they do. Um, I don't hide anything from them, and I think they're aware of who their dad is. I mean, my daughter, I neglected my daughter when she was born until she was 7 or 8 because I cheated and got another woman pregnant when I was engaged and I got married. And the woman told me she was pregnant, and so I was like, "Ain't mine." And then I had to go to court, DNA, paternity test, and she was mine. And I still acted like she wasn't mine. So I didn't see my daughter for probably up until 7, 8. And we're close now. She's 30. I have a granddaughter. Um, but my kids, she was the one that really didn't get the wrath of me because I didn't raise her. Her mother raised her. My sons, even to this day, they still have this like reservation about. We talk. We're cool, but I think they still have a fears. They have fears when they are around me. I don't yell and scream anymore. I don't spank when they're too old. At 26 and 29. But we talk, and we're not in a strange relationship at all. So they haven't disowned me. But I feel like we could do better together, do more things together. You know, when we're around, we hang out. It's natural. We have fun and eat and laugh and stuff. But I like to do more of that. You know, I do.
So those times where you had the urges and you were very impulsive, uh, did you find that those were the times where you were the most deceitful?
It depends on what I was impulsive about.
Mhm.
If it was a woman, yeah, very deceitful. If it was stealing something, very deceitful. If it was lying, if it was hiding something, very deceitful, yes. So it
Mhm.
depends on what was going on at that time. But whenever, to be honest, whenever I was impulsive, it was always in relationship to something that was unhealthy, unnatural, and unfair. Something that was for me anyway. If I'm gonna be impulsive, if I feel that it was something that pulled that out of me, excited me. And if I'm with somebody and it doesn't necessarily excite them, but I'm excited, I'm out, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, most of the time when I was impulsive, it was probably majority of the time I was being deceitful. Yes, because there was something in that was it impulsivity. I think that's the word that drove me to want, to desire, to fulfill something,
Mhm.
whatever it was. It was something that got me excited. I was interested.
So would you say that it was really almost like once you did that thing, it almost gave you the sensation of fulfillment of somebody that is addicted to drugs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's why I tell people, had I not joined the Navy, I probably would have been a crackhead or a heroin addict, or I would have been robbing banks. Robbing banks, the thought of robbing banks excited me, even to this day.
Mm.
Yeah, I could watch bank robber movies and me rooting for the bank robber, not to hurt anybody, but the thrill of getting in there, controlling the environment, talking to people, having a plan, getting to the vault, getting the money, getting out of there within 3 minutes. I I like stuff like that. I still do, but I won't act on it. It's just something that still it gives me a rise.
Mm.
Yeah, being impulsive, getting a certain euphoric feeling is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so I know if I got that euphoric feeling out of this, and if I was in the military, if I don't want to ruin my career, I can go get high. I get the same euphoric feeling. So I knew I would have gotten high with my mother, and I would probably be deceased by now. Yeah, I know that for a fact.
You mentioned control. Let's talk about that. In times past, before you started working on yourself in therapy, was control in the relationships with these women a main factor?
Yeah, I had to have control over what she spoke about when it came to me, how right she felt she was when it came to me, not to question anything about me, leaving early, coming home late, where I've been, none of that. Changing my clothes, I did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. But on the flip side, I couldn't handle it if the woman did me like that. But I never had anybody to like, well, my ex-wife was the one that I couldn't do that to. But I would find other ways to hurt her, but to satisfy me because I couldn't run game on her. So in essence, I was a cheater. And sometimes when you cheat, you don't think the other person knows. So that was something that I would do to make myself feel better because she was a strong lady, right? And I was so used to running women over and getting my way and having my way, I wasn't going to be with somebody that I could do that with. But I married my wife when I was married because I was attracted to her and thought we'd have some beautiful kids. And I felt like she'd be a great mother. And, she was more mature than I was. She had a solid foundation. Her parents had been married at that time, 30 some years. My parents had been divorced. So marriage didn't mean anything to me at all. And so the control part, it was something that had to be, it was a, it was a trait, I believe. It was a feeling. It was an emotion. It was a thought. It was a plan, because if I didn't have complete control, I would feel like I was inept and not having control or weak. And that was the worst way I could have looked at it. So one of my exes called me controlling. And I got mad because I used to call my ex-wife controlling, but I didn't see the difference. I didn't want to see the difference. I didn't want to admit that I was controlling. I wanted to be with somebody that I can do what I want to do when I want to do, but I would allow her to do that. So narcissistic people, I think, are very unfair, very unfair.
So, Leon, what happened in those instances where you lost the control?
So I start doing things that made me feel like I had control of another woman. And so I would be at home with her after I just left somebody else that made me feel like a man. And that was normally a new woman that didn't know who I really was, but she was physically attracted to me, and that's all that mattered. I would always go for the women that could relate to me. I wasn't thinking about relating to them. This is how it's gonna go. You're gonna relate to me. I'm gonna run you over. I didn't say those words, but those were my actions. And to have those actions and not think that you're running over a woman is insane. It's asinine. But I knew the women that would allow me to do that, and I could go months with somebody like that, Tony, and not even realize that I was not taking care of her emotional needs. To me, women were just for sex. It was never, ever about an emotional need. It wasn't about holding your hand. It wasn't about building with you. It wasn't. And that started when I was 5. It just started liking my cousins kissing me. And then my babysitter at 8, taking my virginity. All my emotions were directed, streamlined to sex. And so the women that I had I had to have that control over. It was always physical, which I knew it turned into being a mental thing for them, based on what we were doing, how we were experiencing each other, how I was exploring her body. I didn't explore her future thoughts at all. I'm like, don't even mention the word future to me. I'm not gonna be here that long. But it was always like, okay, let me give you a massage. Let me scratch your scalp. Let me paint your nails. Let me to show you how to work out, right? Let me teach you how, credit scores. It was always something I wanted to do, and I wasn't concerned about them learning. I was concerned about them falling in love with me because I was so worldly. So I called myself. So I was never in a relationship 100%. Although I had 2 6-year relationships and one 12-year marriage, I was always halfway out.
In those relationships, did you consider yourself the prize?
Always. Nothing less than that. I wouldn't say that, but I would act like it. Because women always call me, "You're so arrogant and conceited." And I'd be like, well, if she stayed with me, then maybe that's what she likes. So, yeah, you're right. I could easily agree with you if you don't go anywhere, But if you start to leave because I'm arrogant and conceited, I'm going to do something to bring you back, and I'm going to hurt your feelings for warning me about leaving me. Abandonment, right? Like you mentioned earlier. That stuck with me and I didn't like it.
Let's go back to, I don't think you mentioned the word, but what you described to me sound like selfish, right?
Yeah.
Um, in those relationships, um, you did things because you wanted to do what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it, and so therefore it was really all about you.
Hmm. All the time.
So how did
Um,
that feel innately?
how did that feel?
Yes.
I felt very powerful. And then when they pushed back on it, I would do something to hurt their feelings and then make them not want to ever do that again. I wasn't a physically violent dude, but I was mentally abusive. Like I could sit next to a woman and ignore her for months. And that started me to think about in therapy how I would ignore my mother for years. I have to live with that now. But getting back to what you said, it made me feel powerful. It made me feel invincible. It made me feel like I can do anything to her. I could dominate her. I could change the way she thinks. I can make her love me even though I'm not even talking to her.
Mm.
And it happened over and over again. What would they say, Leon? Are you going to talk to me? I'm like, there you go, that attitude. I would always project. I would always flip it around. And see, this is why I'm not talking to you. Then what happens? You become conditioned to be quiet. You become conditioned to be small in a relationship. You become conditioned to forget about yourself and always remember me. It was very evil of me to do that. But that was safety for me and it was security.
When you were able to do those type of things, because that's psychological abuse, uh,
Yeah.
did it make you feel less about them,
Mhm.
right? Like, did it make you believe that they were weak and so therefore you would keep on going? Like,
Yeah. And then I would also know, feel, and learn that I didn't have to care about somebody that couldn't care about themselves enough to stand up to me. I wasn't going to hit her, but if she tried to stand up to me and try to say something back, I would become nastier and nastier. And I get that from my mother. Yeah, those women that stayed, they heeded the warnings. And I was wrong for treating them like that, but I could do it for a very long time, Tony. And that, like you said, that's psychological abuse, it's mental abuse. And there are women that I talk to now that are going through what I put women through.
Mhm.
So I can relate to what the man is doing to them or what the woman is doing to the man. And I can give them answers about where it's going to lead. And that's easy. It's not going to lead anywhere. It's going to lead to you being sick and possibly passing away.
Mm.
Right? You develop health problems, health concerns. You won't like yourself. You won't like other people. You won't want to be out and about. You become isolated. You become a slave of sorts.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times it's like, oh, he's mean. And then you say, oh, I won't say that because Leon will get mad. It was so bad with me, Tony. I would blow up in public. And when I blew up in public, it was over. And then when she brought it up to me later on, I wouldn't even remember what I did. And so anger issues. Don't want you to abandon me, so I'm going to mentally abuse you. So if you think about abandonment, you just possibly develop Stockholm syndrome. You start
Mm.
feeling sorry for me. I'm the aggressor. We still gonna have sex. You still gonna cook. You still gonna give me massages. I'm not afraid to sleep next to you, even though I abused you, because I can tell by how your body feels. You want me. I could have been dead wrong, but in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. So that's what happened. And a lot of women deal with men like me, and it's just not. It's unhealthy. It's not fair. I learned these things though. I'm not gonna put it all on my mother, but a lot comes from my mother, the mental side. But I've seen my father do things too that weren't cool, weren't healthy. So yeah.
With some of these women, would you say that it was a case of they were okay with you not really being fully with them, right? Because there's a difference in being in a relationship or being in a situation where you're not really with them because you don't want the emotional attachment.
Yeah, but they still wanted me physically 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, they did. Because I was never discarded by any woman until 1991 after being with a woman for 5 years. But after that, no, it didn't happen.
Mhm.
So I didn't feel like anybody was going anywhere. And I didn't even worry about anybody going anywhere. But the ones that knew, and I'm glad you said that, I would tell them up front, look, this is the deal what it is. This is what it is. I'm dating you and a couple other women. I was just, and being brutally honest is not a good thing. It's actually bad when people say, I'm brutally honest. It's not a good thing. But I was brutally honest because if I can tell them that I'm no good, don't like me, I'm not going to love you, and you're not the only person I'm sleeping with, and they stayed, there was no problem with that in my mind. But they couldn't tell me that there was another guy involved. I couldn't handle that. I was a very emotionally weak man, especially when it came to being fair. Couldn't handle what I was dishing out at all. And for some odd reason, I could pick up on stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I knew I couldn't handle what was what I was doing to her if she did it, had she done it to me. Could not. And I would act like I didn't really like those women, but I knew that I could like them. See, I was always afraid of being emotionally close to a woman because I felt like if when I was emotionally close to my mother, if she could discard me, then these women would do it too. And one did, and I lost my mind. I didn't hurt her, but I stalked her. So that emotional maturity, I didn't have it. I was afraid of having done to me what I was doing to them, but nobody ever challenged me on it until 1991.
When you say that you were an emotionally weak man, in hindsight, do you think that that was also a place that your father had been?
Yeah, for sure. I seen that in my father too. Yeah, because my mother told him she wanted a divorce. My father started crying. My father's he was a big man. He's like 6'2", 230. He's full of muscles, but emotionally, no. And my father never remarried. My mother never remarried. They got divorced in 1979. My dad died 20 years later. My mother died almost 32 years later, but neither one of them never remarried. But that part of my dad, that emotional, I don't want to call it weak, him, but I was emotionally weak. I couldn't resolve conflict. I don't want to look in her eyes. I don't want to talk about how we're going to fix this. I don't want to talk about, well, Leon, this is what I'm going to do. Since you did this, I got to go. I don't want to hear none of that. That's like coming home in the sixth grade, trying to go into my house. My mother said, no, you can't go in there. We have to move. We lost the house. When it comes to stuff like that, rejection, abandonment, I am no. So what I would do instead, I would be the one that's going to reject you first and abandon you. So you deal with it, not me. I had to control. I had to be in control of how long you stay with me, how long I stay with you, and when I was ready to be done with you, push you away. If I couldn't do that, I knew I'm going to lose my mind because I lost it as a little boy, and I don't want to go back to that little boy anymore. So even though I hurt women emotionally, it was safe for me to hurt women emotionally. That's why men with narcissistic personality, so that's why they hurt people because it's a safe haven for them. I'm not going to apologize to you because I broke your heart. I'm not going to apologize to you because I pushed you away. I'm not going to apologize to you because I lied to you. You called me, oh, well, too bad. You knew when you met me I was dysfunctional. You knew when you met me I had mommy issues. And you stayed. And you gave me sex. And you cooked for me. And you folded my clothes. So now you want to talk about that? No, it's too late. Either you love me or I'm going to leave you. And that's how it had to be for me, Tony, to survive. I don't like it now. I didn't know if I liked it then, but I liked the fact that I was emotionally safe. I wasn't even emotionally stable. Nobody could break my heart. So I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm good. I'm breaking yo. I'm the heartbreaker. Hell, don't break. No. Oh, my mother did this. No, no, no. Get the hell away from me. And I was fine with that. I know it sounds funny, but that was safe for me. And it's safe for a lot of narcissistic men. I know what they're dealing with out here and women. I know why they do what they do
That's interesting. So, did you find yourself around other men that were the same?
all the time. I have friends right now that are just like me, and they don't know that I know. And you know it's crazy. A lot of them don't even know that they don't know. And I could toy with them, talk about them, say certain things, and watch them. I'm like, you all right, man? Yeah, I'm good. No, you're not. But I don't do that. I do sometimes. When I go to Cleveland, I have friends that are just like me. The difference between myself and them is they haven't been diagnosed and they're not in therapy. But I know they're emotionally weak. I know that they are very extremely vulnerable, and I know that they are very jealous men, very jealous. I know for a fact. I could say certain things around them and just watch their skin crawl. Yeah, women too,
Let me ask you though, did you find yourself aligning with those type of men?
all the
Um,
time.
yeah. Was
because
it?
they weren't going to judge me, and I wasn't going to judge them. We were all doing and wanting the same thing. Yeah, all the time. Those are the ones. Like if somebody's a Christian and a married man, I don't want to be around that brother. You're boring to me, bro. We can't even go look at the girls. We can't even talk about our past. Um, I didn't like being around emotionally stable and mature men. It was no fun to me, you know. So I learned how to do it though. Like now I can. It's cool. And I'll tell them how I was used to be. I was just couldn't, man, 5 years ago, I couldn't hang out with you, dog. Couldn't do it. I want to go smoke and drink and chase girls, you know? So yeah, a lot of men I know that are like me, and a lot of men that I know that are not like me. I can go hang out with both.
Right. So I would imagine that when you were, in that space, in that headspace, really, that was a level of high insecurity.
Yeah, very much so. Especially if I couldn't live up to the standards that they had. Work wise, yeah. Conversation wise, yeah. Being monogamous, no. Going to church, understanding the word, no. You got me, bro. You know, I can't do it. Hey, Leon, you want to go to church? Nah, man, I would lie, make stuff up. Insecure for sure when it came to that, yes.
So how did I know you've gone to therapy, but in working through therapy, how did you manage to be able to become secure enough to be around men really that in essence would hold you accountable?
By telling the truth about myself,
Mhm.
agreeing about the things they said, they wouldn't just outwardly put me down, no. But when they was talk about topics, I'd be like, man, that was me, bro. Hey, man, I did that. And they look at me like, and they laugh. I it helped me when they laughed at me because I'm like, yeah, bro. They'd be like, what? They didn't know. A lot of them didn't know. I'm not covert at all, grandiose, but we would talk about things. I'm like, yeah, man, I know, bro. We would laugh about it because I turned it into a joke, but it was just truth. I couldn't tell the truth and be serious about it because it hurt too bad.
You just mentioned joke, and I just want to go back down the street just a little bit before we conclude. Because earlier on you mentioned you were grandiose and you like to joke. Did you find that those jokes sometimes included indirect insults?
All the time. And that's when I would either stop or say something nasty to them. Yeah, all the time. And so I had to remember who I was around. So I was very careful when I would say certain things. I was very careful when I would expose myself around certain people. If they're just like me, I could expose myself all night. We're gonna laugh about it because they got the same problems I have. But when it came to somebody that was like emotionally secure and mature and rather be a minister, a priest, or whomever, I was very careful about that. But I've grown to be able to do that with the men that are mostly secure and mature that can give me guidance and correct me, Yeah. But so I'm cool with that now. But 5, 10 years ago, nah, brother. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm gonna flirt with your girl. If she's next to you, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna get some security out of this in a bad way. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, do you think too that in some of those jokes that they were also meant to um, bring hurt?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hmm. But I've never felt like somebody would could hurt me more than I could hurt them. And that started with hurting women. So I would became conditioned and used to hurting people. So it was like quick witted for me. And yeah, all right, yeah, don't say that no more. I would say something nastier. Yeah, when they go low, I go to hell. Yeah, it was Tony. I tell you, it was bad. I was and a lot of people know how bad off I was. Nobody knew because I could hide it at work or being successful and happy go lucky and smiling all the time. That was just a shield hiding the way that I really felt.
Was that feeling empty?
On occasion, yeah. I would tell you this: whenever I was rewarded or awarded or got promoted, it didn't last long. The high, the feeling, because I couldn't share it with my mother, and I didn't care about sharing it with who I was dating at the time. I did, but it was like, man, my mother. I wish my mother would tell me that she loved me or would hug me. Never got that. 32 years in the Navy, my mother never told me anything good about my awards ever. And that was like, okay, yep, my mom ain't happy, so hey, yeah. So, and I would keep, like, now I'm still doing things, uh, good things to make myself feel better and feel fulfilled. And I think my mother's spirit is around, so she knows.
Well, as we conclude this session tonight, what would be one of the nuggets that you would give our audience surrounding the study of your genealogy and DNA?
I would tell people to look at both sides of your family. I started studying my family a long, long, long time ago. And when you start studying your family, you start seeing that you're doing the things that they were doing. Then you start to look for ways to not do that. Like, I didn't want to be ornery and stubborn. Like, I have a brother he might be 66, 67. And at that age, it's bad, very stubborn. Um, we didn't say I loved you in my family a lot. Didn't say it. So if you see those signs of families like that, um, take note. Don't ignore it. When you're dealing with your significant other's family, your boyfriend, girlfriend family, hanging out with them, pay attention to how people treat you, how they welcome you, how they look at you, how they shift when you come around, how they invite you, how they bring you in or don't. Pay attention to those things. Because the family's not the only person that's going to do like that. That person's going to do like that too, eventually. And if you see it and you think they see it and they know it and they don't fix it, that family is either going to discard you or break up that relationship. Be careful with that. My ex-wife's family was very loyal to me, very good to me. Every woman I've dated, their family, I was solid with their family, especially her mother, because I was always missing my mother. So all of my exes, I got close to their mother. Their mothers could get me to do anything, anything. But my exes couldn't get me to do anything. I was always looking for a mother figure. So pay attention to the traits that you see in your boyfriend or girlfriend, husband, wife, and their family members too. Pay attention to that, because you're going to be the one that's dealing with that person when those traits, those actions, those reactions start coming out. Possible addictions, outbursts, anger issues, it's going to come out. So be careful with that.
And Leon, where can we find your books? Where can the audience reach you if they had a question?
I'm on all social media, Leon Robert Walker Jr., Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, my YouTube channel. All three of my books, Broken, uh, Love Ship, and The Seven Loveless Traits are on Amazon. And my website is up. No, it's not up now, but you can email me. My email is all over my social media. So I'm not hard to find.
Well, thank you again for joining us at the Relevant Roundtable. I certainly appreciate you, and I think the audience does too. So we are wrapping this session up, friends. Please join us once again every first and third Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We certainly enjoy you at being at the table.
Thanks for having me, Tony.